6 months passed since Jiwoo and Hanul joined the Coalition Guard. The training was brutal. Every day pushed them to their limits. But they did well. Where other new warriors struggled, they excelled. Their bond made them faster, stronger, and better coordinated than anyone expected. The other guards learned to respect them. At first, there was doubt. A human girl barely 20 years old and a starhorn that had been rejected as worthless. But after the first training exercise where Jiwoo and Hanul beat a team of 5 veteran soldiers, the doubt disappeared. Commander Yuna gave them harder and harder tasks. Hostage rescue practice, defense against many enemies, planning exercises. Each time they proved themselves. Then came their first real mission. A distress call from a mining colony at the edge of space. Pirates had taken over the place and were holding 300 workers hostage. The pirates wanted a huge ransom and a ship to escape. The Coalition could not allow this. But the colony was built inside an asteroid with limited ways in. A direct attack would kill many hostages. They needed a small team that could sneak in and stop the threat quickly. Commander Yuna put together a strike force of 6 pairs. 12 warriors and their bonded steeds. Jiwoo and Hanul were chosen even though they were the newest members. Yuna believed in them. Now they had to prove she was right. The team traveled on a stealth ship. During the journey, Jiwoo met the other warriors. Most were older and more experienced. Some were friendly. Others were cold and professional. But all of them had one thing in common. They had bonded with their steeds through years of shared struggle. One warrior named Bora came to Jiwoo in the common area. She was human too, one of the few in the Coalition Guard. Her bonded steed was a huge creature called a thunder bear. It had fur like storm clouds and eyes that crackled with electricity. Bora sat across from Jiwoo. I heard about you. The girl who bought the broken starhorn at auction. Everyone thought you were crazy. Jiwoo met her look steadily. And what do you think now? Bora smiled. I think you might be the smartest person in this unit. That starhorn of yours is special. I can see it in how you move together. You have something the rest of us took years to build. She leaned forward. Let me give you advice for your first real mission. Trust your bond completely. When things get wild, that connection will be the only thing you can rely on. Do not overthink. Just feel and react. Jiwoo nodded. Thank you. The ship arrived at the mining colony in the dead of night. The team gathered for final instructions. The plan was complex. 3 pairs would make noise at the main entrance. The other 3 pairs, including Jiwoo and Hanul, would sneak in through the mining tunnels. Their goal was simple but dangerous. Reach the central control room, free the hostages, capture or stop the pirate leaders, all without causing death everywhere. The sneaking team entered the mining tunnels. The passages were narrow and dark, perfect for surprise attacks. Jiwoo felt Hanul's tension through their bond. The Starhorn's senses were highly alert, looking for any sign of danger. They moved in silence for 20 minutes. Then Hanul stopped suddenly. Through their bond, Jiwoo felt the warning. Enemies ahead. At least 6. Heavily armed. The team leader, a veteran named Taiman, raised his hand. They talked through tactical signs. He showed that they would try to go around the pirates. Too risky to fight. But as they tried to find another way, an alarm sounded. The pirates had found them somehow. Suddenly, the tunnel was full of light and weapons fire. The surprise was lost. Taiman cursed. All units fight. Make it quick. The tunnel erupted into chaos. The Coalition warriors were outnumbered but far more skilled. Jiwoo found herself facing 2 pirates. Both were bigger than her. Both had military-grade weapons. But she had trained for this. She dodged the first shot and got close. Her blade flashed, taking the weapon from one pirate. Hanul appeared from her left and took down the second with a powerful tackle. They moved like one being. Where she struck, Hanul protected. Where Hanul attacked, she covered. The fight lasted less than 2 minutes. All 6 pirates were down, but the alarm had alerted the whole place. They had lost their advantage. Taiman made a quick decision. We split up. Each pair takes a different route to the control room. First one there secures the hostages. Jiwoo and Hanul chose the most direct path. It was also the most dangerous. But through their bond, she felt Hanul's confidence. They could do this. They ran through halls filled with enemies. Sometimes they fought. Sometimes they avoided. Hanul's sharp senses let them predict enemy positions. Jiwoo's smart thinking helped them choose the best routes. Finally, they reached the control room. 8 pirates guarded the door. Behind them, Jiwoo could see the hostages through a window. 300 scared workers huddled together. The pirate leader stood in front. He was a huge alien with 4 arms and thick armor. He saw Jiwoo and Hanul and laughed. They send child and pet? Coalition must be desperate. Jiwoo did not answer with words. She let her actions speak. She and Hanul attacked together with perfect timing. It was the most beautiful and terrifying dance of violence. Hanul went low while Jiwoo went high. The Starhorn tore through the guards with brutal efficiency. Its teeth and claws became weapons of precision. Each strike hit vital areas. Each movement was calculated for maximum effect. Jiwoo moved like lightning. Her blade sang through the air. She no longer fought like a desperate survivor. She fought like a trained warrior. Every lesson from the past 6 months came together in this moment. The pirate leader tried to escape. But Jiwoo was faster. She took his weapons with 3 quick strikes. Then Hanul was there, pinning him to the ground. The creature's teeth at his throat delivered a clear message. Give up or die. The pirate leader dropped his weapons. I yield. Jiwoo opened the door to the hostage room. The workers stared at her in amazement. A young human and a white Starhorn had just beaten 8 armed pirates. It seemed impossible. You are safe now, Jiwoo said. The Coalition Guard is here. The hostages burst into cheers. Some cried with relief. Others rushed forward to thank her. Jiwoo felt overwhelmed. This was why she joined the Guard, to protect people who could not protect themselves. The rest of the Coalition team arrived minutes later. Taemin looked at the scene with approval. Well done. You secured the hostages and captured the leader. Perfect execution. Bora came over and patted Hanul on the head. The Starhorn allowed it, which was rare. She grinned at Jiwoo. I told you. Trust the bond. You two are going to be legends. The mission was a complete success. All hostages rescued. All pirates captured. 0 deaths on the Coalition side. When they returned to headquarters, Commander Yuna personally praised them. But what happened next surprised everyone. News of the mission spread through the galaxy. The story of the human girl and her rejected Starhorn captured people's imagination. They became symbols of hope, proof that the broken and thrown away could become heroes. Other warriors with rejected steeds began to come forward. They had been hiding, ashamed of their partners. But Jiwoo and Hanul showed them there was no shame in being different, only in giving up. 6 months after that first mission, Jiwoo sat in her quarters at Coalition headquarters. Hanul lay beside her, head resting on her lap. The creature's white fur was shiny and perfect. Its gold eyes glowed with happiness. She thought about how far they had come. From the auction where everyone laughed, to the small metal home, through the brutal training, and now they were respected members of the elite Coalition Guard. But Jiwoo knew their journey was not over. It was just beginning. The galaxy was full of dangers. There were planets to defend, people to rescue. Just as to bring, a message came through. Commander Yuna, new mission. Come to briefing room in 1 hour. Jiwoo smiled and stood up. Hanul rose gracefully beside her. Through their bond, she felt the Starhorn's eagerness. They were ready. Always ready. As they walked through the headquarters halls, other warriors nodded in respect. Some asked Hanul for permission to touch its fur. The Starhorn allowed some but not others. It had become selective. Proud. They passed a window looking down at Gateway Port. Jiwoo stopped to look at the lower levels where she used to live. That metal home was still there. She kept it as a reminder of where they came from. Then she saw something that made her stop completely. At the auction platform far below, another sale was happening. She could barely see the details, but she saw a small cage. Inside was another rejected steed. And standing at the back was a young person watching with desperate eyes. Jiwoo smiled. The cycle would continue. Another broken soul would find another rejected creature, and together, they would become something greater than either could be alone. That was the human way. To see value where others saw only waste, to offer compassion where others offered only cruelty, to never give up on those who had been given up on. Hanul nudged her hand. The Starhorn was impatient. There was a mission waiting, work to be done, people to save. Jiwoo nodded and turned away from the window. Yes, you are right. Let us go. They walked together toward the briefing room. Warrior and Steed, human and Starhorn, 2 broken things that had found each other and become whole. The galaxy would remember them, not as the weak or the rejected, but as legends, as proof that true strength came not from being perfect, but from the bond between those who refused to give up on each other. Word spread fast about what happened on the dead ship. When Jiwoo carried Hanul back to the main area, the other workers stared. Tarak looked at the 3 dead space roaches with shock on his face. Small human and weak Steed killed 3 roaches? Impossible. Jiwoo looked at him with anger.
You sent me down there to die.
You knew those things were there. Tarak did not say no. He just watched as Jiwoo took her payment and left. But she saw something in his 3 eyes. It was not guilt. It was interest. Over the next week, Jiwoo used all her money to buy things for Hanul. She found a medical scanner on the black market. It was old and barely worked, but it showed her what was wrong. Hanul had 3 cracked ribs that healed the wrong way. Its muscles were weak from bad food. The broken horn had hurt the bone around it. Worst of all, there was poison in Hanul's blood. Jiwoo could not tell what it was, but the scanner marked it as bad. Someone had poisoned Hanul, maybe to keep it weak, maybe as punishment for biting people. Jiwoo felt anger burn inside her. No wonder the creature was rejected. Someone had hurt it on purpose. She needed real medical help. But Steed doctors were expensive. The cheapest one wanted 10,000 credits just to look at Hanul. She only had 2,000 left after buying the scanner. Jiwoo sat in her room that night, touching Hanul's fur. The Starhorn had recovered from the fight but was still weak. It looked at her with those gold eyes full of trust. Trust she felt she did not deserve. How could she help when she barely had enough to feed them? Someone knocked on her door. Jiwoo tensed. No one ever visited her. She grabbed a metal pipe for protection and opened the door slowly. Outside stood the old man from the auction. Up close, she could see he was human. Very old but still strong. His face had many scars. His eyes were sharp. He wore simple clothes but moved like a soldier. May I come in? His voice was rough but kind. Jiwoo was not sure. Hanul stood up and smelled the air. To her surprise, the Starhorn's tail wagged a little. That decided it. If Hanul trusted this stranger, she would too. The old man came inside and got down on his knees. He held out his hand to Hanul. The Starhorn walked over and let him scratch its ears. The man smiled. My name is Daehyun. I was at the auction last week. I watched you buy this Starhorn. Everyone thought you were foolish. Jiwoo crossed her arms. Are you here to tell me that too? Daehyun shook his head. No. I am here to tell you that you made the smartest choice anyone has made in many years. This Starhorn is special. I knew it when I saw its eyes. He stood up and looked at Jiwoo seriously. Starhorns are not like other war steeds. They do not bond with just anyone. They choose their partner based on something deeper. They look for compassion, courage, the will to protect the weak. When a Starhorn bonds with the right partner, it changes. It becomes stronger, faster, smarter. The bond wakes up powers that most people think are just stories, but I have seen it happen. Many years ago, I fought beside a warrior who bonded with a Starhorn. Together, they were unstoppable. Jiwoo felt her heart beat faster. But Hanul is sick, poisoned, hurt. How can it become strong when it can barely walk? Daehyun reached into his coat and pulled out a small case. Inside were bottles of glowing blue liquid. This is called healing serum. It was made by the old race that first bred Starhorns. It removes poison and helps broken bones heal, right? It is very rare and very expensive. He held the case out to Jiwoo. I'm giving this to you. Freed Jiwoo stared at him in shock. Why? Why would you do this for us? The old man's eyes looked far away. Because I was once like you. Young, alone, broken, and someone helped me when I had nothing. This is me passing that kindness forward. But also, I believe in what humans can do. The rest of the galaxy sees us as weak, simple, but we have something they do not. We do not give up on those who are hurt. We do not leave behind those who are different. Daehyun put the case in Jiwoo's hands. Your Starhorn already chose you. Now you must prove you deserve that choice. Help it heal, train together, learn to fight as one. The galaxy needs more teams like you will become. Before Jiwoo could ask more, Daehyun went to the door. He stopped and looked back. There is a training place in the upper levels. It is called the Crystal Arena. Go there in 3 months. Tell them I sent you. They will test you both. If you pass, your life will change forever. Then he was gone. Jiwoo stood holding the case of serum. Her mind was spinning. She looked at Hanul. The Starhorn watched her with calm patience. 3 months. They had 3 months to heal and prepare. Jiwoo did not know what the test would be. But she knew one thing. She would not let Hanul down. That night she gave Hanul the first dose of serum. The creature drank it without fear. Within minutes its breathing got easier. The pain in its eyes got softer. It fell into the first deep, peaceful sleep Jiwoo had seen. Over the next weeks, Jiwoo made a routine. Every morning she gave Hanul the serum, then they would exercise together. At first just short walks around the dock, but slowly Hanul grew stronger. The ribs healed right. Muscles grew where there had only been skin and bone. Jiwoo also started training herself. She had been soft, weak. She survived through being smart and careful. But if she was going to fight beside Hanul, she needed to be strong too. She found an old gym in the lower levels. She ran every day until her legs burned. She lifted weights until her arms shook. She practiced with a training blade until her hands had blisters. Hanul watched her work with approval. Sometimes the Starhorn would join in, running beside her or play fighting to help her practice moving. Jiwoo found that Hanul could tell what she would do before she did it. One evening, about 2 months into training, something special happened. Jiwoo was practicing her blade work in their room. She was tired and angry. She could not get one move right. Hanul stood up and walked to her. The Starhorn looked at her hard. Then Jiwoo felt something strange, a presence in her mind. Not words exactly, but feelings, images. She suddenly understood her mistake. Her feet were too far apart. Her grip was too tight. She fixed it based on the feeling. The move worked perfectly this time. Jiwoo gasped. "Did you just show me that?" Hanul's tail wagged. Its gold eyes glowed with warmth. Jiwoo laughed with joy. This was the bond Daehyun talked about. It was real. She and Hanul were becoming more than just partners. They were becoming one fighting unit. Two bodies with a shared mind. The change was visible too. Hanul's coat grew shiny and white. Its muscles showed under its fur. The broken horn stopped hurting. Though it would never grow back fully, what was left became stronger. Most special were the eyes. They burned with fierce intelligence and power. By the time 3 months passed, Jiwoo and Hanul were both completely different. They moved together with perfect timing. They talked without words. They trusted each other completely. The day came to visit the crystal arena. Jiwoo put on her best clothes and cleaned Hanul's fur until it shone. Together they rode the elevator to the upper levels. These areas were cleaner and richer. People here looked at them with curiosity and doubt. A young human with a starhorn was still unusual. The crystal arena was huge. Its walls were made of clear metal that sparkled in the light. Guards stood at the door. They were soldiers from different species. They looked at Jiwoo with doubt. "Daehyun sent me," Jiwoo said firmly. "My name is Jiwoo and this is Hanul. We are here for testing." The guards looked at each other. One spoke into a device. After a moment, he nodded. "You may enter. Go to Arena 7. Your test begins in 1 hour." Jiwoo walked through the gates with Hanul at her side. Her heart pounded with nervousness and excitement. She did not know what the test would be, but she was ready. They both were. Whatever came next, they would face it together, because that was what true partners did. And the galaxy was about to learn what a human and her chosen starhorn could do. Arena 7 was smaller than Jiwoo thought it would be. It was a round space about 50 meters across. The floor was smooth stone. Above, platforms held many watchers. Some were trainers. Others were rich people looking for talented fighters to hire. All of them watched Jiwoo and Hanul with doubt. A voice came from speakers. "Participants will face 3 challenges: fighting ability, smart thinking, and bond strength. Fail anyone and you are out." Jiwoo took a deep breath. Beside her, Hanul stood calm and ready. She could feel the creature's confidence through their bond. It helped steady her nerves. The first test started without warning. A gate opened. 3 combat robots rolled out. They were military grade. Each had stun weapons and armor plating. Their sensors glowed red as they locked onto Jiwoo and Hanul. Jiwoo had trained for this. She carried a practice blade. Not deadly, but it could damage robot circuits. Hanul needed no weapons. Its body was the weapon. The robots spread out to attack from different sides. Standard tactic. Divide and overwhelm. But Jiwoo and Hanul had learned to think as one. They did not need to talk or signal. They just moved. Hanul went left while Jiwoo went right. The robots hesitated. They were not sure which target to hit first. That moment was all they needed. Hanul jumped at the left robot with amazing speed. Its teeth grabbed the robot's sensors and tore them free. Blind. The robot spun wildly. Jiwoo slid under the middle robot's blast and pushed her blade up into its belly. The circuit sparked and died. 2 down in seconds. The third robot tried to run away. It calculated that it was beaten. But Jiwoo and Hanul moved together. She drove it toward her partner. Hanul caught it from behind. One powerful kick from its back leg sent the robot crashing into the wall. It did not get up. The arena fell silent. Then whispers moved through the crowd. Jiwoo heard things like incredible teamwork and faster than expected. She allowed herself a small smile. The voice returned. First test complete. Very efficient. Prepare for test 2. The arena floor suddenly changed. Parts rose and fell, making a maze of walls and platforms. In the center appeared a glowing ball. The goal was clear. Get the ball and bring it back to the start. But as Jiwoo looked at the maze, she saw the trap. Some walls had small holes. Dart shooters were hidden behind them. Pressure plates covered the floor. This was not just about speed. It was about being smart and careful. Through their bond, she felt Hanul's thoughts. The Starhorn could sense things she could not. Air movement. Tiny shakes. It knew where the traps were before they could see them. They entered the maze together. Hanul led, its senses guiding them around pressure plates and past dart shooters. When they reached a part too narrow for both, Jiwoo climbed onto Hanul's back. The Starhorn carried her up a wall that would have been impossible to climb alone. They reached the ball without setting off a single trap. But when Jiwoo grabbed it, the maze changed again. Walls moved. New paths opened. Old ones closed. They had to find a completely different way back. This time, Jiwoo took the lead. She had memorized the general shape and could reason through the new setup. Where she was not sure, Hanul gave direction through their bond. Together, they moved through the shifting maze in perfect harmony. They returned the ball to its starting spot. The crowd's whispers grew louder. Several aliens were now watching with real interest instead of doubt. Second test complete. The voice paused. Time taken, 3 minutes 40 seconds. New arena record. Jiwoo felt pride rise in her chest. But she knew the hardest test was still coming. The bond strength test. She had heard stories about this one. It would push them to their limits. The arena reset to flat. Then a wall of energy appeared down the middle. It separated Jiwoo from Hanul. The Starhorn immediately tried to cross but was pushed back by the barrier. On Jiwoo's side, another gate opened. A single combat robot came out, but this one was different, bigger, more weapons, the voice explained. The barrier cannot be crossed. The human must beat the robot without her partner's help. The Steed must stay calm and trust her human completely. Both must succeed to pass. Jiwoo felt Hanul's immediate panic through their bond. The Starhorn wanted to protect her. Being forced to watch while she fought alone went against every instinct. She could feel the creature's distress rising. If Hanul lost control and attacked the barrier over and over, they would fail. Through their bond, Jiwoo sent a wave of calm. Trust me, I trained for this. You made me strong. Now let me show you what I can do. The robot attacked. It was faster and meaner than the others. Its weapons were set to maximum stun. A direct hit would knock her out. Jiwoo dodged the first blast by inches. She could not fight this the same way. This needed more than just physical skill. She remembered her training. Every morning run, every evening with the practice blade, every moment studying how to fight. All of it came together now. The robot fired again. Jiwoo rolled and came up inside its reach. Her blade flashed, hitting joints and sensor points. The robot tried to push her away, but she was too close. She moved like water, flowing around its defenses. Then she felt it. Hanul's presence in her mind, not interfering but supporting. The Starhorn fed her its enhanced senses. Suddenly, she could guess the robot's movements before they happened. It was like seeing the future. She struck 3 times fast. The robot's main processor, its power core and its movement joint. It fell in a shower of sparks. The barrier fell. Hanul rushed to her side and pressed against her, checking for injuries. Jiwoo laughed and hugged the Starhorn tight. We did it. We passed. The watching platforms erupted in clapping. Even the most doubtful watchers were impressed. A different voice spoke now. Not the machine announcer, but a real person. An alien came down from the platform. She was elegant and tall. Her skin shimmered like pearls. Her species was called the Luminary. They were known as master planners and leaders of the galaxy's elite forces. I am Commander Yuna. She spoke with power but also respect. I have run these tests for 15 years. In all that time, I have never seen a partnership like yours. The bond between you and your Starhorn is remarkable. Jiwoo bowed her head. Thank you, Commander. Yuna walked closer and looked at Hanul with interest. This is the Starhorn from the auction 3 months ago. The one everyone called worthless. She smiled. They were fools. This creature is magnificent. And so are you. The commander looked at both of them seriously. I am offering you a place in the Coalition Guard. It is the most elite fighting force in the galaxy. You would get training, equipment, and pay that would change your life. More importantly, you would protect innocent people across many worlds. Jiwoo felt her breath catch. This was beyond anything she imagined. Just months ago, she was a desperate worker barely surviving. Now she was being offered a place among the galaxy's greatest warriors. But she hesitated. What would this mean for Hanul? Would the creature be treated well? Or would it just become another tool? Yuna seemed to read her thoughts. In the Coalition Guard, bonded partners are sacred. You would never be separated. You would train together, fight together, and rest together. Your Starhorn would be honored as your equal, not treated as property. Through their bond, Jiwoo felt Hanul's response. The Starhorn was willing. It trusted Jiwoo's choice completely. Whatever she decided, Hanul would follow. Jiwoo looked at Commander Yuna and stood straight. We accept, Yuna smiled. Good. Your training begins tomorrow. Welcome to the Coalition Guard. As they left the arena, Jiwoo saw Daehyun standing in the shadows. The old warrior nodded to her with pride in his eyes. Then he faded back into the crowd. Jiwoo realized this was only the beginning. She and Hanul had proven themselves today. But the real challenges were still ahead. The galaxy was dangerous. Wars raged in far systems. Pirates attacked trade ships. Dark forces moved in secret. But Jiwoo was no longer afraid. She had Hanul by her side. Together they were strong. Together they were unstoppable. The human girl and the rejected war steed had found each other, and now they would show the galaxy what true partnership could do. Jiwoo's home was small but clean. She worked hard to make it nice after her family died. One big room was everything. Bedroom, kitchen, and work area all in one. The walls were bare metal. A few pictures of Earth were stuck on with tape. One window looked out at the busy docks. The Starhorn walked inside carefully. Its nose moved as it smelled everything. Jiwoo watched nervously. She did not know how to take care of a war steed. The papers she got were written in alien languages she could not read well. She cleared a corner and put down her extra blankets. The creature sniffed them. Then it looked at her. Its gold eyes seemed to laugh. It walked past the blankets and jumped on her bed. It turned around 3 times and lay down with a happy sound. Jiwoo could not help but laugh. Okay then, we share the bed. The next morning, Jiwoo woke up. The Starhorn was watching her. It had not moved all night, just sat there with those smart eyes. For a moment, she felt scared. This was a hunter, a creature made for war. What if it hurt her? But then the Starhorn made a soft chirping sound. It pushed her hand with its nose. The message was clear, hungry. Jiwoo went to her food box. She had some dried meat. Not much, but enough to share. She gave it to the creature. The Starhorn smelled it once. Then it only ate half. It pushed the rest back to her. You need it more than me, Jiwoo said. But the Starhorn refused. It stared at her until she ate her share first. Only then did it finish eating. Over the next few days, Jiwoo learned about her new friend. The Starhorn was very smart. It understood her words even without the collar. When she went to work at the docks, it followed. When she felt sad and cried about her family, it sat close to her. She decided to give it a name. After thinking, she chose Hanul. In her language, it meant sky. The name felt right. The creature's gold eyes reminded her of sunlight through clouds. Hanul seemed to like it. Its tail moved a little when she said the name out loud the first time, but not everything was easy. Jiwoo quickly saw why Hanul was rejected. The creature was weak. After walking for just 1 hour, it would start limping. Its breathing got hard. Sometimes it shook from being so tired. One evening, Jiwoo looked at Hanul carefully. The scars on its legs looked old but painful. Its ribs showed through the fur even with the food she gave it. The broken horn had healed wrong. It probably hurt all the time. She made a choice. If she was going to help Hanul get better, she needed money. Lots of it. Medicine, good food, maybe a doctor for war steeds. That meant dangerous work. Gateway Port had many dangerous jobs. Jiwoo had avoided the worst ones before. But now she had someone depending on her. She found work with a salvage crew. They went into broken ships floating in space. These old ships had valuable parts, but they were dangerous. Dead ships had bad air, broken gravity, and sometimes mean aliens hiding inside. The crew boss was a rough alien named Tarek. He had scales like armor and 3 eyes. When Jiwoo showed up with Hanul, he laughed. "You bring pet to work?" Stupid human Jiwoo did not back down. "Hanul goes where I go." Tarek looked at them both. Then he shrugged. "Fine, but if creature gets killed, not my problem. And you get half pay until you prove yourself." The first job was on an old cargo ship. The ship had been floating for months. The crew needed to go inside and take the engines. Tarek sent Jiwoo to the lower parts. The most dangerous area, always. Humans got the worst jobs. Jiwoo put on her safety suit and checked her tools. Hanul followed close. The Starhorn could not wear a suit, but its kind could live in low air for a short time. Still, Jiwoo worried. Inside the dead ship, everything was dark and cold. Their lights cut through the black. Strange sounds filled the empty halls, metal making noise, air hissing through cracks, and sometimes something that sounded like footsteps. Hanul's ears were up and listening. The creature moved with surprising grace even though it was weak. It stayed close to Jiwoo but kept looking around. Like it could sense danger she could not see. They reached the engine room. Jiwoo started taking out power cells. The work was slow. Each cell was heavy. She had to carry them back one at a time. On her 4th trip, Hanul suddenly stopped. The creature's body went stiff. It stared at a dark hall. A low sound came from its throat. Jiwoo froze. "What is it?" Then she heard it. A clicking sound. Many legs moving on metal. Her blood went cold. She knew that sound. Space roaches. The most common and most dangerous pest in the galaxy. They grew as big as large dogs. They traveled in groups. And they ate anything living. Jiwoo backed away slowly. But the clicking got louder, closer. Then 3 huge bugs came into view. Their shells were dark and shiny. Their mouths had too many parts. Their eyes reflected her light like mirrors. She reached for her radio. "Tarek, we have roaches down here. I need help." His voice came back broken. "Deal with it yourself, human." "We busy." The connection died. Jiwoo knew with sick fear that he sent her down here knowing about the roaches. This was a test, or maybe just a way to get rid of her. The roaches rushed forward. Jiwoo fell backward. She had no weapons. Just a cutting tool that would take too long to heat up. She was going to die here and no one would care. But then Hanul moved. The small Starhorn jumped forward with shocking speed. It hit the first roach with its good horn. The bug flipped onto its back. Before it could turn over, Hanul's teeth closed on its throat. The creature bit through the shell like paper. The second roach tried to attack Hanul from the side. But the Starhorn was faster. It twisted and kicked with its back legs. The hit sent the roach flying into a wall. The bug's shell cracked from the hit. The third roach went for Jiwoo. She fell down, sure she was finished. But Hanul was there first. The Starhorn grabbed the roach's leg in its mouth and pulled hard. The bug lost its balance. Hanul did not stop. It tore into the roach until it stopped moving. The whole fight was over in less than 30 seconds. 3 space roaches lay dead. Hanul stood over them, breathing hard. Dark blood dripped from its mouth. Its gold eyes glowed in the dark. Jiwoo stared in shock. This was the weak war steed everyone laughed at? This creature that moved like lightning and fought so well? Then she saw Hanul stumble. The Starhorn had used all its energy in that fight. It fell onto its side, breathing fast. The fight had nearly killed it from being so tired. Jiwoo rushed over. She held Hanul close, feeling its fast heartbeat. "You saved me. You gave everything to save me." Hanul looked up at her with tired eyes. Then it licked her hand once before closing its eyes to rest. In that moment, Jiwoo understood something. Hanul was not weak. The creature was sick and hurt. But underneath was a warrior, a protector, a friend who would die to save her, and Jiwoo made a promise. She would do whatever it took to help Hanul heal, whatever it took to make this beautiful creature strong again, because that was what humans did. They took in broken things, and they never gave up on them. The metal floor shook under many feet. Buyers from all over the galaxy came to Gateway Port. Today was the War Steed auction. Powerful creatures were sold here. Rich aliens bought them for battles and wars. Jiwoo stood at the back. She was 19 years old. Her black hair was messy. Her gray clothes had dirt on them. She looked too young to be here, but she had nowhere else to go. Her family died in a ship crash 3 years ago. Since then, she lived alone on this space station. She looked at her data pad. Only a few credits left. Not enough for much. War steeds cost millions. She could never buy one. But she heard that broken steeds were sold cheap at the end. Maybe she could buy something. Anything to help her survive. The seller was a tall blue alien. He had 4 arms. His kind were the best animal trainers in space. He showed each war steed with a loud voice. The crowd cheered for the big ones. First came a huge black beast. It was 3 times taller than a human. Fire came from its mouth. Everyone wanted it. The price went up to 12 million credits fast. A warlord bought it. Next was a silver creature with 6 legs. It moved like smoke. This one sold for 8 million. A soldier captain bought it. One by one, great war steeds were sold. Jiwoo watched carefully. The best ones came first. As time passed, the creatures got smaller. The crowd started leaving. Finally, only a few buyers were left. The seller looked tired and angry. A small cage rolled out. Inside was something that made people laugh. It was tiny, about the size of a big dog. It had dirty white fur with gray spots, 4 legs and a long tail. 2 small horns grew from its head, but one horn was broken in half. The most special thing was its eyes. They were bright gold. The creature looked at everyone with smart eyes. Even though it was small and dirty, those eyes looked strong. The seller did not try to make it sound good. He said this was a star horn. Long ago they carried messages in wars, but now machines did that work. This star horn was rejected 3 times. Too weak, too small. It got tired easily. It could not carry weapons. People laughed harder. Someone said it looked like a broken toy. Another said it was trash. The star horn's ears went flat, but it did not hide. It sat up straight and looked at everyone with quiet pride. Jiwoo felt something in her chest. She knew what it felt like to be called worthless. The seller started at 50,000 credits. No one raised a hand. He went down to 20,000. Still nothing. People walked away. Someone said the creature should be killed. 10,000. 5,000. The seller sounded desperate. 1,000 credits. Last chance. Going once. Going twice. Jiwoo's hand went up before she could think. The seller blinked. He looked at the young human girl with surprise. A few people turned to stare. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. The blue alien spoke with relief in his voice. Sold. 1,000 credits to the human. Jiwoo walked to pay. Her legs shook. What did she just do? 1,000 credits was almost all her money. She would barely have enough for food. And for what? A broken war steed that everyone said was useless. But when they brought the cage to her, she looked into those gold eyes again. She knew she could not leave this creature behind. The Starhorn watched her with interest. Not fear, not anger. Just quiet watching. A worker gave her papers and a metal collar. He said the collar would let her give commands to the steed. He warned that Starhorns were difficult. This one had bitten 2 people already. Jiwoo took the collar but did not use it yet. She opened the cage door slowly. The Starhorn could run away. It could attack. But Jiwoo stayed calm. She spoke softly. I will not hurt you. My name is Jiwoo. I know people treated you badly. I know that feeling. But things can be different now. The Starhorn's ears lifted a little. It turned its head to the side. Then slowly it stepped out. It was only as tall as her waist. She could see how thin it was. Its ribs showed under the fur. Old scars marked its legs. The creature smelled her hand. Then it made a soft sound like a sigh. It pushed its head gently against her hand. The touch was warm. Jiwoo smiled for the first time in weeks. She did not know what to do with a war steed. She did not even have a good place for it. Her home was a small metal box on the lower levels of the space station. But looking at this small, broken creature that everyone rejected, she felt something new, purpose. Maybe they could help each other. As Jiwoo walked away from the auction with the Starhorn, she did not see the old man watching from above. He had scars on his face. He watched the human girl and her new friend with interest. He had seen many war steeds in his long life. He knew something the crowd did not. Starhorns were not weak. They were rare. Their true power only woke up with the right partner. A partner who did not see them as tools. A partner who saw them as equals. The old man smiled. Maybe this human girl just made the best purchase anyone had made in years. She just did not know it yet. Maybe the galaxy was about to learn something about Earth people. Humans had a strange habit. They adopted broken things. They refused to give up. They saw hope where others saw only trash, and that made them dangerous in the best way possible.